One of the most common requests that you'll see Pokemon fans ask from Game Freak outside of getting out this Dark Age or the Sinnoh remakes everyone asks for, even though Omega Green Alpha Sapphire were sins on humanity and awful, is for a sequel to Pokemon Snap. The Nintendo 64 spin-off that lets you take pictures of Pokemon and view them like you would in Pokemon Stadium's photo maker thingy. We want Pokemon Snap 2. Pokemon Snap 2 would be perfect for the Wii U, perfect for the 3DS, perfect for the Switch, perfect for my phone, perfect for my toaster, perfect for my Spewper pet. Whatever the case, people say Pokemon Snap is something that needs to come back and everything's perfect for it. There's so much Snap baiting though, and for years I've always had simply one response when it comes to this game. What's the appeal of Pokemon Snap? Welcome back to Eternal Memories' season finale, and apologize for my mustache and my pretty ugly hair. This episode was a pain to film. I finished the script ages ago, but I've been nagged at by editors, and it's just been bugging the crap out of me, so I haven't been able to get any work done in terms of video making for the past month. And that includes unscripted memories. I've been more focusing on reviews, because I at least want to keep those consistent on my website. But yeah, unscripted memories has been paused, and all because I want to finish Eternal Memories. It's weird, I wanted this to be like the May season finale because I thought, oh, this is a simple episode to make. But for some reason, this game is so damn short, the episode took ages to make. And it's not even that long of a script. So we're gonna go right into it. As I mentioned in the intro, Pokemon Snap is a spin-off for the Pokemon franchise, and it has some pretty big significance in the fan community. I do not understand why. Let me explain. When I was growing up with my grandma and whatnot after being relocated from my mother and birth mother and all that situations, I ended up getting a Wii in October of 2007. 2 months later, Pokemon Snap launched on the Wii Virtual Console, and I think that was right before Pokemon Puzzle League did, which I enjoyed a lot more. This was my first ever exposure to the game, and I had lots of fun back in the day because the Wii message board feature was integrated, it was a lot of fun, and the Pokemon were cute, and there weren't many of it. I thought it was a very cute game, and so I thought, okay, I beat it, it's fun, cute, but move on to the next game, May Hopeful Stadium. Stadium never came, Winter Pokemon are very usable in Stadium 2, or Gold Silver, but I digress. So, needless to say, Pokemon Snap is a game I played once years ago and never played again. But on the Wii U Virtual Console, I decided to play it again for the sake of it because there's something that's really weird that's gone on lately. And that's the fact that too many people like this game. And that may sound like I'm being antagonistic towards anyone who likes the game, because it has lots of good merits and fun to it. But it's so underutilized and doesn't realize any potential at all that it feels like a beta. It had a beta that was interesting at one point. And the reason for that is everyone wants a sequel to this game. Probably because out of all the Pokemon spin-offs next to Hey You Pikachu and crappy stuff like the Umbrella games and Pinball, this is the oldest Pokemon spin-off that hasn't had a sequel. And that's actually kind of surprising because if a game does well, and this game did do very well being released in the height of Pokemon back in the day, there was no sequel to this game or even any plans for it that got cancelled. There was like that Picross game that got cancelled, but no Snap 2 that got cancelled. This was on the Nintendo 64 DD for a while, but it got moved over to the Nintendo 64 cartridges, and those cartridges are notorious for being the reason why we didn't get good games like Mega Man X4 and Mega Man 8 and all those 2D games, and even the good 3D games that the PlayStation had. All because Nintendo cheapened down, we got stuck with the best games of all time, but no good party games ever. That's another story though. So yeah, with me talking about how Pokemon Snap was something I got introduced to pretty early on, and how it was an okay impression, let's go into the game after we discuss the reason why people want a sequel to this, besides it being an old game that hasn't had a sequel. Most devices nowadays kind of go on the same sort of gimmick Pokemon Snap used, in the sense that you can take pictures of the Pokemon by zooming in with the Z button and, well, snapping pictures, and it works pretty well, but again, there's flaws that make the game not that good as I remember it, and I find it to be very underwhelming, but a sequel could very, very easily improve on all those fronts because we have so much better technology, and there are literally two systems that the game was basically made for that they wanted to make it for. There's one world obstacle and an enemy that stops the sequel from being made though. Junichi Masuda. He said in an interview a while ago that he didn't think a Pokemon Snap needed to be made because they didn't want to retread the same ground, or they thought it was, well, not interesting for the modern age. And I actually agree on him not being interesting at all. But the sequel, it's been 20 years since the game came out. I think it's okay to at least make an eShop sequel like Battle Trolls. They didn't want to go all in. But yeah, Masuda doesn't seem to get the sequel desires either, and so he hasn't pushed for a sequel for any of the systems. No one has. People say the Wii U is the perfect system for the sequel because it can literally be moved around like a camera, and the 3DS can do that too. Switch kind of camera doesn't have a camera, but there's no need for an AR feature in my opinion. Heck, Pokemon Go is kind of like Snap if you turn the AR mode on, because you literally are moving around trying to throw the balls to Pokemon. It's not the same. The closest we got to a pseudo tribute to Pokemon Snap though is in the form of the World Dex Pokefinder from Sun and Moon. That crappy game that lowers the frame rate in half. Yeah, I don't know, it seems like a little jab and Game Freak being like they did with the Battlefront team going, hey, remember this cool feature? Here's it, but much worse! Needless to say, Game Freak knows that there's a demand for a sequel, but both me and Masuda don't get why. I think I at least understand on a technical standard things more than he does, because he's kind of out of touch. But yeah, people want a sequel for a long time now. I always thought it was an unimpressive game and the most forgettable of the spin-offs. So let's see if I'm right. Let's jump right into Pokemon Snap on Nintendo 64. But I guess, as I mentioned before, I have on the Wii U after getting on the Wii. It's best to play through this entire game from start to finish, again to see what the fuss is about. Maybe now that I've enjoyed lots more games than when I first played this in 2007 with a misspelled player name as a kid, I'll be able to finally see the so-called genius of this adventure and reflect on some moments from that first playthrough. One talk with Oak later and it's off to the beach. Right from the start, this game took a while to get used to, both then and now. The movement speed is slow as molasses, and you can only zoom in and take pictures. There was nothing else to do in the first stage besides take pictures and wait for the whale to move forward. As a kid though, I did find this amusing because I just took a bajillion photos of Pikachu and Pidgey and ran out film. You have a film limit, and if you run out, you get sent back to Oak's office. Otherwise, you wait till the game ends the stage or until you exit manually. Of course, for my more recent playthrough, I play the game in a more proper manner and just try to take as many varied photos of Pokemon as possible. Though with only the camera and no other items, you can't do much in the first level and you'll run out of Pokemon to take pictures of to begin with. And then it ends before you know it. At the very stage, Professor Oak will judge the pictures, and he'll give them a score based on how well they look, but with his default camera, good luck getting a zoomed-in view of anything, and let alone having anyone notice you, save for maybe a Meowth or the Pidgey that fly around. Afterwards, you go back and do it all over again, but this time inside of a cave filled with electric-type Pokemon and oddballs such as Kakuna, who have no reason to be an electrical power plant. Anyways, as you progress through the tunnel level, taking more round pictures, you make it to the end of the stage, get the pictures graded by Oak once again before you move on to the next stage. Or so you think, but in actuality, this game does not want you to play level by level until you reach the end of the game like a normal video game would. No, the main focus is taking pictures of Pokemon, and this game will make sure that the Pokemon pictures are good by forcing you to gain a certain amount of total points in order to unlock stuff. Yes, this means that any of you have taken pictures of all possible Pokemon in the surrounding area with the current arsenal of items, you have to do it all over again in the stages you have unlocked to get better pictures and more points. My arch nemesis known as artificial padding in a video game for the sake of making it longer has returned. Still, after you do an extra round on the beach or the tunnel, you will most likely get enough points to unlock the first item to use to manipulate the Pokemon. Apples. Now you have the power to throw infinite apples for no reason at all to lure and annoy the crap out of wild Pokemon. Sometimes you can even summon new ones as a result, providing a reason to revisit the beach for some extra shots and points, while in the cave it will allow you to blow up more Electrode, one of which is actually blocking the wall that leads to the next stage, a volcano. Finally, new territory explored and a clever way to progress the game. With the apple already in hand, you can already do some cool things such as summoning Moltres and grouping together tons of Charmander for a group photo that'll get you lots of points. You can also evolve a Charmeleon into a Charizard by knocking it into a fire pit, which instead of killing it, it manages to evolve into a Charizard because it gets hot, I guess. Even when I was younger, I never understood that, oh no, that these de-evolve will stay the same or evolve into a skeleton monster or something. No, it just evolves. I know fire types are resistant to fire, but it's kind of weird. Then again, this game can be weird later on. So once you finish the volcano stage, more grinding! Yeah, as if going through the volcano once wasn't annoying enough if you happen to not like it, you have to do it all over again, at the same dull speed, all while trying to improve your earlier efforts by taking more pictures that are higher quality. Rinse and repeat until Oak finally lets you go to the next area, which is a forest. More Pokemon take pictures of, rinse and repeat, all the same as usual, though you can't again take pictures of some Pokemon quite yet, because they just won't move even if apples are thrown at them. The stage goes by a lot quicker than the other stages, at least in my opinion, and more than likely if you kept up with all the Pokemon on the stage, you'll be able to get the next item on your first try through the stage. And it's the most essential item you'll be gaining for the rest of the game, and it makes less sense than your infinite apples. Introducing the Pestiball. Rather than luring Pokemon you knocking them into things like pits or walls or rivers, you can now irritate them to their breaking points and scare them out of hiding. Go from being a peaceful photographer that just wants to take Pokemon pictures to bringing a reign of terror on this island of Pokemon by being the biggest jerk you can be and being the ultimate master of ball throwing. The good news with this power-up is that now you have 4 stages to revisit to get new Pokemon since the Pestiball finds new Pokemon in all 4 of those stages, and that helps for the next step point in species grinding since at least it's not as repetitive with new items to toy around with. This is well for me. Most of my good memories of the game came from, well, when I got to Pestiball, I just ignored the main point of the game and bugged the crap out of Pokemon by throwing balls at them left and right, having fun when they did funny reactions or when I constantly hit Pokemon I hated like Meowth. Taking pictures right after hitting them for some hilarious expressions that actually give you bonus points. Of course, as a kid, all these funny shenanigans I did by goofing off indirectly helped towards the grind, and I assume that's what the developers intended and hoped players would do in order to not notice it and, have fun and goof off and, well, not worry about the fake padding. But as someone who wanted to finish as fast as possible in the modern age as an adult, while also wanting to get as many Pokemon as I could to 100% the game, the grinding in general is just very irritating, and I'm glad that Pestiball at least gives you some breathing room to see new stuff in old levels you've been to, without limiting you to a very small pool like before, and it's also actually entertaining to use the Pestiball compared to an apple. After making the rounds around the stages again, do revisit the forest area and awaken a camouflage Porygon in order to open the gate to the next level. My personal favorite for a reason that should be very easy to figure out if you know me, the cave level. Yeah, I don't get why they named 2 levels after words that mean the exact same thing, valley and cave, but whatever. This is a pretty cool crystal cave with some interesting Pokemon display, from a Bulbasaur Ditto that looks, well, as goofy as a Ditto Pokemon looks in general, a Jigglypuff being followed by coughing and floating in the air for some odd reason, and speaking of odd things, a Pikachu being carried by a Zubat of all things, a Pokemon light as a feather, and that can even barely do anything to begin with. The Pikachu's probably pretty dumb, but if you do say and you get a super cute scene of the Pikachu glows balloons and fly around himself. And I always found that adorable ever since I played this for the first time over a decade ago. By far the best part of the stage is, well, this damn egg I can't open yet, and it's not those recolored Jinx that do nothing but stand and look at the egg, that's for sure. And yeah, they recolored the Jinx for obvious reasons, but in the original Wii Virtual Console version, I swore their hands were still black, but their faces were purple, but now it looks like they're all purple, so maybe they fixed that minor error in the Wii U version. Oh well, I still can't open this, but back on track, you say the Jigglypuff from earlier, she'll be performing at the end of the stage, singing and doing what she did in the anime. And if you take enough pictures, you can actually get points, and you're off to the last normal stage of the game. Which means you should have enough points and species to move ahead by now, with the grind non-existent since you have access to all normal levels and a lot of Pokemon to mess around with. Though you do have to grind more to get items such as a Pokeflute, which allows you to summon Zapdos and my beloved Articuno. Yes, the best part of Cave Level I mentioned earlier is Articuno, because she's Articuno, and Articuno's Articuno, and Articuno's pretty, and she's also, I can't say this online, but she's lovely. And now to just do this. and finally have Professor Oak grade me with an instant score of 9,000 points.
Wonderful! Well done. You were close.
Wait, what the? Screw you for not realizing the sheer greatness I witnessed, Oak. I finally found a moment in this game I love the pieces, and you ruin it with your stupid 2D face. Like, why are you not 3D? You're kind of weird. Anyways, this final stage is none other than the valley. If I may be honest, this is my least favorite normal stage of the game because there's so much brown. It's dull and boring that might as well be a world of mud, even though it's lots of rocks, so I guess it should be a stone land? Still, if you time the shots right and aim a Squirtle towards this irritating Mankey that just jumps around, you'll be able to unlock the final alternate path, which leads to none other than Professor Oak, still in 2D, forever. This time he's wearing a goofy uniform to explain that you need to unlock the final area by meeting the mythical Pokemon Mew, but you must collect pictures of 6 Pokemon signs scattered across the island. Backtracking and grinding time, except this time it's a lot quicker than before, because you'll be given a speed boost power-up that'll finally, at the edge of the game, speed up the game to the speed it should have been in the first place. Thankfully, since you're only hunting for one final thing in mind, you can just exit out of a stage as soon as you take the picture of the sign and go to the other stages. So this part of the game, despite the developer's intentions, does not take that long at all. Especially since none of the signs are even that hard to find, and the 0-1 Wolver can speed boost now, and in fact, you may have even found some of these signs already, which I did both as a kid as Mewtwo once before, and now with anything I can encounter. Unfortunately, even if you save them in the full album hoping to use them when this part of the game kicks in, you can't use them in order to make the story move along, which is pretty stupid since they don't even make any efforts of hiding these signs until you're told about them. But I digress. These signs are pretty obvious to locate since they're either landmarks shaped like Pokemon, such as this Kingler statue, or things that just look strange enough to be worth taking a photo of, like the Mewtwo stars that somehow make a Mewtwo once you submit the photo. Assemble all 6 signs, and Oak will just so happen to remember some random cloud in the sky is filled with the constellations that you took with the photos. That must mean Mew's there, and thus you arrive at the final stage of the game, versus Mew. It's nothing but flying balls at it. Sorry, just take pictures when it's not shielded, and once the timer runs out, you submit the photo that you think's the best, and it sends you home and the credits kick in. The game ends. That's it. One boss, Mew. Mew doesn't even fight, it's just Mew. And there's not even anything cool like maybe Togepi. They could have had Togepi and it would be much more interesting, but yeah, it's Mew. And it's anticlimactic. If that whole summary I just mentioned, even though I was talking kinda fast, sounded like a very short game to you, that's because Pokemon Snap is a short game. And despite not touching it in nearly a decade, it took me a mere 2 hours to beat the game and nearly 100%ing it, only lacking a handful of Pokemon that I could find without a guide. Pretty lousy for a Nintendo 64 title if you ask me. Still, it was a short enough adventure that I think I enjoyed it for what it was in the Wii U Virtual Console, and I didn't think the game's worth the asking price there, especially if you get the upgrade from the Wii Virtual Console and only have to spend $2. Absolutely worth the money there, but otherwise, if you have to buy a car and it's ultra expensive, don't buy it. I only recommend it if you have one of those weird Pokemon Snap photo booth machines. In conclusion, Pokemon Snap was, well, just like I remembered it, a forgettable, boring, well, spin-off. It's basically a filler game that was only made to fill the gaps between the next Pokemon game and be a spin-off for the sake of spin-off purposes, and the game's so damn short for a full-price Nintendo 64 game back in the day that's laughable that it was even released in this current state. In my opinion, this game, I could say would be the worst on Nintendo 64 if Halo Pikachu didn't exist, and also the fact that worst on Nintendo 64 if we exclude Halo Pikachu from the Pokemon series doesn't mean bad, because it's not unplayable, it's not boring, it's not a sin to humanity like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. It's just a game that I feel like is poorly realized and repetitive. It's so boring, and I still don't get, after playing the game all over again, for the first time in 9 years, I still don't get why people like this game so much to the point they constantly want a sequel to it and think it's the best game of all time in the spin-off series. It has good potential, as I mentioned in the beginning, for a spin-off and a sequel spin-off to the spin-off. Where am I going here? And, well, it's a good concept, but good concept doesn't mean good game. And therefore, I don't think Pokemon Snap is worth looking back on. Well, until the sequel comes out. If there is a sequel, then yeah, I'll give it a shot because it'll hopefully be improved. But if Game Freak develops it and not HAL, because I think HAL Laboratory had a bit of experience with the whole Nintendo 64 compared to other developers, I mean, that's why Pokemon Stadium is the great game it is. I don't think this game would do well as a sequel. For one thing, this game, as I mentioned before, doesn't even have all 151 Pokemon. And with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee only having 151 because they want Panda the Gen 1ers, I have a big feeling a Pokemon Snap sequel would Panda the Gen 1ers, even though there's literally 600 more Pokemon that they could easily lose. And it would create a lot of content and fun to have. To see stuff like Spewpa or Braixen or Scolipede or Whirlipede or Metapod or Centuet, all the Pokemon I can think of in their natural habitats and doing funny things to upset them. Because that's pretty much the main fun of the game, upsetting Pokemon and taking pictures when they're upset or in anger. So I can see the appeal, and more Pokemon the better, but Game Freak's on this Kanto kick and also on this dumbed down for kids kick, so I don't trust them to make a good sequel. But then again, like with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, if a game itself is not that impressive to begin with, I don't think a bad sequel would be as damaging to the brand as, let's say, well, Omega Green Alpha Sapphire to Emerald. Pokemon Snap can easily improve, even if it's a minor improvement, or even if it's an HD remake and they just add all the 151 Pokemon and more levels. They could at least get away with that, and I still think it's good as an eShop game, not as a retail game. But let me know what your thoughts on Pokemon Snap are. You probably think it's much better than I thought it was. But, you know, I saw some merits to the game and had fun at points. It was just there. Puzzle League is easily the best Pokemon game on Nintendo 64 in my opinion. But that didn't come out in Japan, so some people don't count. So I guess Stadium 2 or Gold Silver's called in Japan would be my other pick. But needless to say, demand for a sequel made. Don't think it's going to be made anytime soon, but with them on their kick, who knows. Maybe it'll be made for the Switch and everyone will be happy. And unless they mess up, which they easily could. So yeah, the season finale of Eternal Memories. This took ages to get done, and as you can tell from my irritated voice, I kind of did not like making this video. I loved playing the game again with recording footage. It's a nice, casual, relaxing change of pace on my Twitch channel. But recording the footage and stuff and dealing with families and annoying, nagging relatives drained my mood and got this video out extremely late. As for when the next season will start and when the Unscripted Memories will resume, I got a few ideas for Unscripted Memories, so I'll do those off and on in August, and especially in September. I have a good one planned I think you'll like. But Eternal Memories, I think I'm going to save until October or November, maybe later. I'm taking a film class this fall, and I'm going to learn how to edit videos in Adobe Premiere. I did so in the best of 20, or the worst of, I think it was the worst of 2017 video, and I couldn't figure out for the heck of it, because it's a complicated program. And iMovie, you know, people mock it for being literally baby's first movie maker next to Windows Movie Maker. It's very useful for me, and I pretty much mastered that software, but I haven't had any experience with Premiere, so learning in a class how to master that software will be interesting to say the least, and I hope it'll be suitable and make good videos. Planning to get a new mic so I can plug into the computer and not have to use my laptop mic that you see right in front of my finger, or my webcam, which means no more grainy pixels and no more frame drops so I seem to mute myself for no reason. So yeah, Eternal Memories is gonna get a makeover. I'm excited for it, I hope you are, and let's hope everything goes well. Until next season, or the next Unscripted Memories or any other video you watch from me, take care, bye!